Well, good midday, good marvelous and fabulous midday. This is the day the Lord has made. We shall rejoice and be glad in it. It's a wonderful Friday. Friday. Um, the OJ said, when the eagle flies, Friday, a day that culminates at one time a work week. But, we live in an age now where weekends really don't mean that much anymore because people just work what they need to work, the way they need to work, how they need to work. And so we're just grateful for another day. The songwriter would say it's another day's journey, and I'm glad about it. And for that, we bless his holy name. Good midday to you, Minister Sarah. Thank you for being here with us on this great day. Christine, thank you. Thank you for being here. Gladys, good midday to you, to each and every one that is coming on to be with us. If you don't mind, hit that share button. Hit that share button. Let folk know that the word of the Lord might not be that many of you after yesterday's, but we just got to do what we got to do because only truth sets free. Okay. And for that, we bless his holy name. Kathy Jemison, bless you for being here with us on this wonderful Friday. And so, just grateful to God for you, one and all. Continue to lift each other up in prayer and watch God work. Timothy, thank you so much. Excuse me for being here with us and being a part of this learning experience on a wonderful Friday. Somebody might say, well, it's cold. That's better than snow. It's better than rain. So let's not get bent out of shape over the fact that if you live in northeastern Ohio or in the eastern part of the nation, this is a wonderful day in comparison to what it should be. And so we're grateful and thankful to God for another day. So as you come in, we are just thankful that all is well. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you one and all. Tamika, how is you? Okay. And we're glad that each and every one is here with us. And as Genesis has said, don't forget this is Veterans Weekend, Veterans Day. And so we want to remember those who have given the ultimate sacrifice. And we also want to thank God for those who have rendered service that have been maimed, marred, or disfigured because of their commitment. And so we want to thank God for that level of commitment that people are willing to sacrifice themselves for the sake of our peace and contentment. Okay. All right. You enjoyed the message yesterday, Kathy. I appreciate that. Linda, bless you for being here. Chaplain Hearns, bless your heart for being here. Elder James, Mansell, thank you so much for being a part of this learning experience. Doe, how you be? Hope all is well down in Midland on the Ohio River. And just grateful to God for those of you who are here with us on today. And we're going to begin in a couple of minutes, and we'll see how many show up today. We'll see who's interested in part two of what I consider to be probably one of the most challenging lessons that we've ever had to teach. But every now and then the sword goes forth, and that's basically just the way it is. There's nothing I can do about it because I must present the word of the Lord the way God has originally intended for it to be presented. Gaither, thank you so much. Thank you, 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 thank you so much for being here with us on today. Okay, and we bless the name of our God for each and every one of you. Well, let me go ahead and begin. Let me begin by sharing the disclaimer. I am not talking about those who have lost their jobs. I'm not talking about those who have fell upon any difficult moments. Janice, thank you so much for your report of the video and the audio presentation. So we're grateful to God for that. Thea, bless you. Good midday to you. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about people who have fell on hard times. I'm not talking about people who, yeah, Chaplain. And you know what? The one thing that I've learned over the years, it's sometimes, Ethel, how are you? The more challenging the message, the more it produces. Because sometimes, Christy, how are you? Sometimes we just kind of like, oh yeah, that's nice. Oh, that sounds good. But every now and then we got to go where the rubber meets the road and just kind of deal with some things. And again, I'm not talking about circumstances beyond your control. I'm not talking about, again, losing a job or going through whatever you're going through. What I'm talking about and what I'm dealing with is something overwhelmingly important, especially to the African American community, because for the most part, hey, Sonia, how are you? Tell the good deacon we said hello. Um, we don't count up the cost. We don't see the necessity from time to time, and this is not everybody, but we don't necessarily see the necessity of calculating and figuring out how these things can fit into our budget. Thank you, Cora, for sharing. I appreciate that. Debbie, bless you for being here. We and much of that which we suffer from has been from the inability of previous generations to teach us something that they had nothing to work with. And I wish I had 5 people that caught what I just said, because for the most part, our parents taught us nothing about financial responsibility. Their parents knew absolutely nothing about financial responsibility because, for the most part, hey, Nancy, for the most part, we did the best we could with what we had. And then the sad part about it is people perish because of a lack of knowledge. And so when we migrated to the north and we went to Detroit and began to work in the auto industry, we went to Akron and began to work in the rubber industry, and those areas around Youngstown, steel, Western Pennsylvania, steel. All of these areas were industrial areas. Hey, Linda. And so because it didn't require anything, and for the most part, many of our men at that particular time had no education. Stephanie, how are you? Good to see you here. Good midday to you. They didn't have any education, so they gave the money to the wives, and the wives had the at least the high school diplomas, but there was no real investment in teaching us as younger people how to do, because there were some things that were not afforded to us. Um, and then there was just some things. Hey, LMA dear, how are you, Ayana? There were some things we really didn't want to look at, and I'm gonna be honest with you, because for the most part, when you are, oh God, when you are ignorant, and when I say ignorant, I'm not calling you stupid in any way, shape, form, or fashion, but ignorance means that for the most part, you just don't know any better. You're not going to let somebody who may intimidate you because of what they know, or who may make you feel less of a person because of their capabilities to do things. You're not going to let that person tell you, "Hey, Joe, how are you?" Tell you what to do with your money, because it's your money. I do what I want to do the way I want to do it. But the sad part about it, and that's right, Minister Sarah, sometimes ignorant is bliss, but it's got a price tag of an unbelievable magnitude at the end of it. And so, nobody's going to tell me what to do with my money. I've been broke all my life. You can look at the same situation that happens and still happens in many of our prominent athletes. They make millions. Hey, Barbara, how are you? Mary, bless you for being here. They make millions of dollars. And a few years after they have come out from playing whatever sports it is, they don't have anything. They don't have anything to fall back on. They don't, because for the most part, they have squandered everything. Happy Veterans Day to you, and good weekend to you. They squander the money. They give money to people who are not really worthy of the expenditures being put into them. And I know God, that sounded terrible, but I'm calling it the way it need to be called. And the truth of the matter is, and I'm going to get in trouble for saying this, but the reason that many of our athletes who do have anything, it wasn't because of them, it was because of their wives. Different one had gambling issues. They had addictions, and addictions are not just always alcohol and drugs. And so in the midst of all of that, it did not afford us the ability to learn the power of investing. And then when our churches were fundraisers. We weren't teaching tithing back then. Tithing was taboo. It was in the white church, but it wasn't actually being promulgated in the black church, because again, you can't tell us what to do with us money. So what did we do in order to have money in the church? We sold dinners. We had rallies. We had fundraisers. We did all of those things in order for the church to have some level of prominence and to have something whereby they would be able to operate and maintain the church. Oh, Lord, Lord, Lord. Where we get upset at other people's churches and what they look like, due to the fact that for the most part, that's right, raffle tickets. The only thing that we built was a sanctuary where, when white people built, they built churches and educational facilities because they understood the importance of an educated congregation. I'm going to get in trouble, but I'm going to say it. And then because we don't have the skill sets, and in some situations we don't even want them, we buy the leftovers from other people, and then we have to retrofit them in order for us to occupy them. And the problem is, if they could not afford them, what made us think we could? Why? We didn't count up the cost. We didn't count up what the utilities were going to be like. Many of these older buildings have boilers in them. I know what I'm talking about because there's one here. And those boilers cost an arm and a leg when they break down to be repaired. So all of these things are in there. And so because we're not able to understand finances, because we're not able to understand the importance of being prepared for a rainy day, because it's raining in this day. And because nobody's going to tell me what to do with my money, I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm a grown man, I'm a grown woman, and I'm not going to let the pastor or anybody else, okay, tell me what to do with my money. That's where we are. And the sad part about it is, it's detrimental because it causes us, and it creates behaviors that actually drain every financial resource we could possibly put together. That's the reason why different cultures sell us the hair. That's the reason why they can have grocery stores in our neighborhoods and we will rob and pillage our own. This is the reason why, we have to go to other places to buy cars, because we don't necessarily trust us to have a dealership. And if we do, sometimes the quality of the vehicle is substandard. But the funny thing about it is, we'll give the black dealership the blues, and the other dealership, we just kind of let them get away with whatever they want to, only because there's this psychological thing in our minds that tells us that we don't challenge people of another color or another race like we do our own. Oh my God. I hope you're still there. I hope you're catching this. And so what happens is, it perpetuates itself generation after generation after generation after generation. And in the midst of all of that, we have nothing to prove for our existence other than children. Yeah, children, grandchildren. That's the legacy that we leave behind when life is over, and we leave debt. We leave all kinds of things, and I noticed, the new iPhone is out, and everybody wants one. Everybody wants one. Everybody wants the latest gadgets. And so what do? They trick you into thinking that it's free. Nothing is ever free. It's figured into the payment. Oh God. And so in the midst of all, because I know for a fact, I have a iPhone something other mini, and it was supposed to be free, and they were supposed to do such and such and such and such, and they never did it. And I ended up getting the phone actually free. Because here's what they were supposed to do. They were supposed to, I paid for it and then they would credit it back. Now, what kind of foolishness is that? So they weren't crediting back the money. So I ended up getting the phone free, which it should have been anyway. Because if it's free, then it shouldn't even be in the payment. But for the most part, we can't afford to shell out $1,500, $1,800, $2,000 for a phone. So we get caught into the payment process. And they're so good at it that they will not let you make payments unless it's under their terms in order for you to own the phone. And then once you own the phone, then that becomes another situation, because if you don't let them know that the phone is paid for, they will continue to make you pay what you've been paying, because we don't understand finances. We can't have checking accounts. We can't have credit cards. We can't have any of those things because we don't understand that when we talk about finances and revenue and different things, we don't understand how compound interest works. We don't understand all of those things. And so in the midst of this, hey, Cora, you got to look at this, because look at what it says in Luke chapter 14. I know y'all not ready for this. And I know this is funny because some people ain't on today that were on yesterday. But look at this. It says in Luke chapter 14, it says in verse 30, or what king going to war against another king does not sit down first and consider whether he is able with 10,000 to meet him and come against him that has 20,000? Look at what it says. If I only have 10,000 soldiers, do I have the capacity to go into a battle against someone who has twice the number of people that do? I have the armament? Do I have the capability? Do I have any of those things that are necessary in order for me to win? Because you just don't win because you want to win. You win because you have the capacity and the capability to win. You don't necessarily have to have soldier per soldier, but you also have to have some other things that will enable you to win. And if you don't sit down and do what you're supposed to do, then the next thing you know, you're sending a delegation over to ask them, how can I surrender so you don't kill everybody? How many things have died in our lives because we didn't calculate it properly? How many things have been taken away from us because we didn't calculate properly? And then we talk about being disciples of Christ. Well, disciples of Christ is more than just shouting, more than having a good time. It is also physical responsibility. God is going to hold us accountable, not so much for what, and he will do it for what we have done, but he's also going to hold us accountable for how we manage the money that he put into our stewardship. Look at what it says, verse 33. So likewise, whoever you does not forsake all that he has cannot be my disciple. There has to be a level of discipline that takes place within the body of Christ. Hello. Hello. You gotta come to terms with. Listen. There were those that took the buyout from GM who have to work other jobs because we didn't have the management skills to know what to do with the money. Why? Because rather than paying things off, we decided to buy stuff. Not realizing, and there's nothing wrong with having stuff, but not realizing that every bill you pay now is more than what it was before. Food is astronomical now. Medical coverage is ridiculous. Think about what it costs just to exist. Think about the amount of money. And if it weren't for the supplemental entities that come along here, hey, Rose, how are you? If it weren't for that, what would we do? It was funny as I was driving down Belmont Avenue. I just got my truck washed and I was heading back because I went to Starbucks. I needed me some coffee. I needed, so I went to do that. And there was this brand new Genesis G80 all-wheel drive. It looks so good. And you know what I said? I'm gonna keep driving my Genesis that is paid for until the wheels fall off. My Lexus truck has 267,000 miles on it. Here's what I'm trying to get us to see. And here's what I'm trying to get us to recognize. You ain't got to run up every credit card. You don't have to buy everything you see other people have. Paul talks about the fact that whatever condition I find myself in, I learn to be content. And when we quit competing with one another, then we'll deal with debt better. I don't need to outdress you. I don't need to outlook you. I need to dress because I want to, because I feel good in what I'm doing, not because I want to outdo you. Whatever I drive is because I have the capability of driving. Okay. Wherever I live is because I have the capability of living. So I'm not going to get envious of you because you in a 5-bedroom mansion and it costs $500,000 for you to be there. You can afford it. I can't. So whatever condition I find myself in, I learn to be content. Yeah, they're good cars, Jemison, but you got to take care of them. You got to maintain them. You just can't drive them. You got to change the oil. You got to rotate the tires. You got to make sure this is done. You got to make sure that is done. When the lights come on, you take it someplace to get it. But you can't do that when you're financially strapped. Which one of you that want to go into war don't count up the costs? And what we've got to do, and I love y'all so much, what we've got to do is if we're going to be, see, somebody might say, well, I didn't see that in the text. He's talking about money. He's talking about preparedness. How many of us can go 6 months without a paycheck and not miss a bill? Because we haven't calculated. I'm sorry. I know after what I did yesterday, some of y'all wasn't going to get back on here. I'm sorry. But see, and then here I come, okay, as the pastor of the church, and the Bible talks about tithing, and I believe in tithing because God is faithful to his word. When we were broke as broke could be, we tithe, and God is faithful to his word, but he also expects us to be good stewards with the 90%. Mary, you got to go back and look at it. You got to go back and look at it, because that's why some folk ain't on here now, because I know they're upset over what I taught. Because again, can't nobody tell me what to do. And I'm not trying to tell you what to do with your money, but what I'm trying to do is to get you to see that there's just a possibility that your life is not in sync with the will of God because he has not yet found you to be a good steward. See, if you have not been faithful over a few, you will never have the many. And I believe it's his good pleasure to give you the kingdom of God. I believe that he wants to bless you in an unbelievable fashion. I believe that the wealth of the wicked has been laid up for the righteous. I believe that God has great things for you. I believe it because he's a God who cannot lie. But just like we will not invest money in a wayward child, neither will he invest money in someone who cannot be found faithful. And I'm gonna tell you where I learned this. And I know I took too much time in dealing with this. I know I went through this way too long, but my mother and my father died broke. Did you hear what I said? We had to do what we needed to do to get the money together to put them in the ground decently. And I told the Lord and everybody else that was listening, I was not going to be that way. We were going to leave a legacy for our children. It's in our will, which many of y'all don't have, that when we die, our children will receive what we in our lifetime have designated for them. And whether they blow it, whether they whatever, that's not my problem. And then before we die, I'm going to enjoy some of the fruits of my life. I've been working since I was 14 years of age, and I will soon be 67. And at this stage in my life, there's some things I should be able to do. One, because I've worked by the sweat of your brow. I've worked I'm still working. And I have to be a good steward. I give to the Lord what the Lord requires of me. And I'm a good steward. Now, I haven't always been one, but it's the mistakes that taught me how to quit making the same mistake. I got to go. I got to go. I got to go. I got to go. Hey, Willie, how you doing, my friend? That's all I'm trying to say. Oh, listen. Listen. I got to go. I want to see you on Sunday morning. I want to see you in person. I want to see every one of you in person. I want to see you in person. I want to see you in person. And so, so that we can come together and we could celebrate the Lord. We can bless his name collectively together. Now, if you can't do it, I got that. I got that. You can still be a part of what we do as we stream and just be a part of that. But I just needed to teach, because many times Jesus talks more about money than he does anything else. Okay. And so we've got to get this. We've got to understand this. We'll be praying for you, Barbara, as you travel. Listen, how do you want to live? More than how do you want to live? Do you want to glorify God through the way you live? All right. I know. I done said it. I don't know how many times I done kept you too long, but I do. I love you. I love you with the love of Jesus Christ. We want you to have a blessed weekend. Okay, we'll be praying for you. I know it is difficult. It is very difficult when parents are deceased during these holiday times. So, Rose, we will definitely be praying for you. Listen, y'all take care. Have a great time. I look forward to seeing you. Yes, I will be here in person Sunday morning. May God bless you. May he keep you is our prayer.